On everybody, today we're going to be starting this episode with something great. We're going to be upgrading our old Honda head unit to a brand new touchscreen single DIN head unit that we just found at Walmart. I'm very excited to see how it's going to turn out at the end. We also had to get a couple parts just to make it more user-friendly with the S2000's audio controls, but other than that, should go pretty smooth. So here is our stock head unit. It did the job back then, but nowadays with technology so advanced, this is kind of obsolete. And this is the head unit we are going to be replacing for the S2000. Here we have the PowerAcoustik single DIN car stereo head units, specifically the CP-71WA. And here it is. So basically it comes with your standard, you have your options, you have your manual, you have your wiring harness if you want to do it yourself, and that's pretty much it. But we went for the easier route and we chose to buy Modify's kit for the PowerAcoustik. Modify does other head units such as Pioneer, JVC, and other brands, but I specifically went for PowerAcoustik just because it has a touchscreen. So two things we're going to need to make our dash controls work with this head unit. One, we're going to need the wiring harness, which is basically a plug and play. You plug it into the head unit and then plug it into the factory wiring and it will make it compatible. You don't have to do the wiring yourself. You don't have to take it to a shop. You don't have to do none of this. So next, we're going to need a DCI harness. This little guy. This little guy is what's going to allow us to use our dash controls. Next, we're going to take out this radio cover entirely. So what you're going to do carefully is pull on the bottom left corner and bottom right. So just carefully pull on both trims. And this entire section from all the way up here to down there should come out together. So this will be a lot easier with two hands, but I'm going to try my best with one hand. Should just come out, as you can see right there. So you want to pull it forward, not up, otherwise you'll break the plastic. And as that is out, we have our radio cover out, and now we have the actual head unit itself. So I already took the liberty of removing the two screws on the left and two screws on the right. So where those metal brackets are, you just want to remove those screws. So one here and one up here on the left side, and one here and one up here. And after all that's done, it should just come right out. You should be left with these three. So the blue cable that is smaller, that's going to be discarded, basically just put aside, because that's not going to be used on our aftermarket head unit. Don't know what it's for, but from what I can understand, that's not going to affect anything on our radio or car, so we don't really need that, but I wouldn't cut it either. We just only need these two. There's only two things that we're going to need from this head unit, and that's basically the brackets on each side. Now, I'm understanding that on the old head unit, there's a slot for two screws on either side. However, on our aftermarket, we only have a slot for one. Let me show you what I mean. We're gonna align this hole onto that further right hole, and it'll work. It'll work, but there is nothing else on the right side for the hole. And I don't want to be inclined to have to drill into this head unit and mess something up. What we're gonna do is basically we're gonna be putting the bracket onto the further left screw, and we're gonna make sure this is straight as possible or aligned to the face of the head unit, while also making sure it's tight on the left screw and it won't wiggle. All right, so this is basically the result we have so far. It's on securely, it's not gonna move as much, so that's all that matters. And we're able to screw this back on to the car itself. So as long as it stays still and it doesn't move, it should work fine. Two things I'm noticing between the two. One, this is a lot lighter than that, so that's a huge, it's not much weight savings, but it does something. Two, I just realized how small this screen is compared to your typical 9-inch screens. This is really small, so I'm very curious to see how Google Maps and YouTube Music is going to work on this little guy. I'm going to be plugging in our DCI, which is this little guy right here, and we're going to be plugging in our wireless adapter. This black little guy here will go straight into the PowerAcoustik to give it power, to basically allow it to function. Also, if you want to utilize the tap mode option, which is basically, you know, let's say for example you have your old head unit, right? Typically for the S2000 you have your volume up and down, or you can switch your audio control, so you can go from FM to AM. That's basically what the stock dash controls. But once you plug in that DCI adapter and you set it to tap mode option, this is what that tap mode does. It completely changes everything. You still can utilize your volume up and down. You can still utilize your mute and your channel. It just changes this guy right here in the middle. Press it once, it tracks to the next music. But if you want to go back to that last track, you hold that function, then you go down the volume, and it goes back. Vice versa, if you want to skip, you go forward. But that's basically all it is. You can skip the music or you can go back. Kind of weird that you can't press it twice to go back, but hey, it's a lot better than not having that function. So let's go plug it in. Alright, so now that we have everything plugged in, properly fitted, screwed back on, we're gonna give it a test. Hey, it turns on, so something's going good. Something's going great. We have some LEDs going on and off, going miscellaneous colors. Here's the startup. So we're gonna click English, then we're gonna click America, continue with that. Okay, so our volume control works. Let's try our mute. So since we're able to control the volume and mute, that means our DCI works, and we're just gonna safely assume that our tap functions also work as well. So let's see what kind of options we got here. Oh, I muted, that's why. Yeah, we should see it. So we can access our radio. This is our volume, up and down arrow. We have our microphone right here for Bluetooth. We were able to connect our deviceless, our phone, via Bluetooth, and we're gonna test the Android Auto. And what do you know? It works. Everything's working fine. We're gonna test if our microphone or what's it called? Voice option works. Works just fine. Can still utilize our up and down controls. So basically, you know, it's your typical Android Auto / Apple Carplay, just on a very smaller scale. It'll take some time getting used to, but I think it does job just fine. It's a lot better than our stock head unit. That much I can guarantee. We have our music choices here. We have our other tabs. If we want to go back to the PowerAcoustik, we just click there, and it brings us back. And if we want to switch to radio, we click radio. We want to go back to our Bluetooth, we click home, Android Auto. So, and as you can see here, there is an option for Apple CarPlay if your car is Apple CarPlay compatible. So there's definitely a bunch of options right there. Thank you guys for watching today's video. We finally decided to upgrade the head unit. Super stoked with how it came out and how it works and sounds. Next, we're just gonna upgrade the speakers so they can also match to the head unit so that we can get a better sound. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the S2000 right now. But since it is that time of season where it's getting hotter and hotter, we're gonna start painting the Civic's body parts so we can get it looking better than what it is right now. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So hopefully, we got more stuff planned coming in. So thank you guys for watching. See you guys around.